book gets a lot of hate, man. This book gets a lot of hate. A lot of you guys told me that this book was awful, that this book was not good, that you thought this was one of the worst Goosebumps books of all time. And I'm sitting here to tell you, cluck. You guys clucked up. Your opinions were all clucked up. And this title and cover of the book is also clucked up. I can't help but make the cluck jokes. It's a good way of me saying the F word without saying the F word. But yeah, this book is actually pretty good. Well, not pretty good. Those are strong words. I shouldn't say that. This book is decent. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, especially considering the reputation it had. So, let's get into the review of a book known as Chicken Chicken from the original Goosebumps 62 series. This book is one that is infamous for its horrible cover, which I very much agree with. This cover sucks. And you can tell from the thumbnail of this video, and you get reminded again, this cover sucks. However, the book has gotten a divisive sort of feedback from the fandom, because I've had people say that this book is pretty good, that they actually like this book, despite what people say. People have said it's not as bad as, you may think it is. Give it a chance. And then there are people who say this is the worst Goosebumps book of all time. This, Goosebumps book sucks. I think on the Goosebumps wiki for this book, there's like a website called Blogger Beware that said that this book was so bad that it shouldn't even be like listed in the top 10 worst books. It should have its own like 0 ranking. Like it should have like an extra ranking in its own field, which to me sounds very ridiculous because I actually thought this book was okay. It reminded me a lot of like something you would see out of a Disney original film. Not a good Disney original film, but, sort of the same type of things. The body horror in this book was effective. It did give me goosebumps, but it wasn't as crazy as you think it'd be. There are morals in this book. At the end of the story, they kind of push that agenda and morals onto you. And you also get this sort of dynamic between characters that serve as like a teaching moment. And it overall made me pretty much appreciate this book. Aside from the ending, which is pretty goofy, very goofy, which lines up with this book. But overall, I pretty much enjoyed the experience. So what is this book about? This book is about a girl that I think is named Casey. I might be wrong. I forgot the name of the main character. It's been a while since I read this book, but I know it's a girl where the name starts C. It might be Casey. She lives on a farm with her brother and her parents. Her parents are computer programmers, yet they live on a farm and raise chickens. Part of their pastime and stuff they like to do. And in this town, there is a woman that's by the name of Vanessa. I think that's her name. And Vanessa is this very gothic, emo-looking woman, kind of like me right now. I got super dark clothing on, but she's very gothic. She's got black fingernails, a black silky dress, long black hair. She looks like, the Disney original film version of a witch. They think she can do curses on people, and she has magic powers, and the whole town's kids are kind of scared of her because she lives in this, crummy-looking house that looks haunted. So one day, Casey and her brother go to town, and they meet up with some of their friends, and their friends are like, yo, this lady's batty. She's crazy. The people got all these rumors that, she's an evil witch and she can cast curses and, she curses people for doing stuff and she's hateful. She hates all the kids. So they decide, hey, let's go fill up her mailboxes with liquid. I forgot if it was juice or some type of liquid. They're like, yo, let's go fill up the mailboxes with it. Which is not a nice thing to do. Listen, if you suspect that a person is a witch, a sorcerer, a serial killer, anything that's not good, if you're scared of somebody in their house, do not go prank them. Because even though doing something horrible to a kid is never a good thing and is always, legal action worthy, if that kid goes and starts provoking the beast, I can't protect you after that. Listen, if my kid met up with some crazy ass serial killer and he went to their house and I'm like, yo, you don't know what he could do to you. All right, he's very dangerous. Stay away from him. And then somebody else's parents tell me that my kid went up and started like throwing eggs across his house. I'm sitting there like, yo, I'm moving addresses. This ain't my kid anymore. Putting you up for adoption. Because why are you bringing that back to me? Listen, Vanessa was nice. Vanessa in this book, she curses the kids. If she brought it back to the parents, if I'm the parent of Casey and she brought back Vanessa's curse on me, I'm going to take Casey and I'm going to drop her off at her house. Goodbye, girl. You're not my daughter anymore. Adios. Listen, Don't go messing with people, especially people that you think are dangerous. Do not go messing with them. But that's what these kids do, and it wouldn't be a Goosebumps book if they didn't do that. So they end up going and putting liquid inside the mailboxes, and they're all excited to see how she reacts. And obviously she comes out, she's furious, she walks up to them, they run away, they think they got away with it. But then the following day, they go to town to get some groceries with their friend, and they bump into her. Quite literally, they bump into her, and they knock over her groceries. And she curses them. She gets so angry. She gets furious. They get terrified. They're like, what is she going to do? And then she points at them and she goes, chicken, chicken. And they start giggling. They're like, especially the brother. The brother starts giggling. He's like, this is the scary lady you guys are talking about. She just points at you and says, chicken, chicken. Am I supposed to be scared of that? Well, you should be, because this wouldn't be a Goosebumps book if it wasn't. Because once Vanessa leaves and these two kids go back home, they start slowly transforming into chickens. And yes, as goofy as that sounds, the body horror in this book actually did a pretty good job. Because even though the body horror in this book is not spectacular, it's not the craziest body horror you're going to see, the idea of feathers sprouting from your skin and you having them, to pluck them out, and there are little tiny holes left in your skin everywhere you pluck out feathers, that's... Ugh, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, man. The idea, the way they describe it, of these feathers coming out, and when they pull the feathers out, they say that their skin gets pulled a bit, and you feel, I don't know what you call it. What's that little, like, connecting part on the feather, like the end, like, on feather pens, the stuff you write with? They say they can feel that getting pulled out of their skin. Ugh. It gave me goosebumps. This book actually succeeded in the title of the series. It did give me goosebumps. And again, it's not the most revolutionary body horror, but it was effective. I was scared for these kids, all right? I did feel bad for them, because then they start saying that their lips kind of get crusty and they harden over into like the shapes of beaks. And then now that whenever they go into like daily life and they go out to town and they go out for a birthday party, they have to find ways to cover themselves up, and it starts sprouting from their necks, and they have to pull it out from their necks and pull it out from their legs and pull it out from their arms. And now it's impossible to hide the lips. You have to cover it up with like a mask or your hand. They're turning into chickens, and they have nothing that they're able to do. So at the end of the book, they head to Vanessa's house after trying to hide it from their parents, after trying to hide it from their friends, after trying to hide it from the village and the town. They can't do it anymore, so they have to go to Vanessa's house. And once they get to Vanessa's house, it is a circus over there. They got a giant cat over there. It's creepy. They find all these like witchcraft and spell books, and they start reading through them and trying to find a way to reverse themselves back. And obviously it doesn't work. They start reading off the wrong spells. They start making their lives even worse. They shrink them, and now they're shrunk around this black cat that's walking around, and now it's big enough to eat these kids. It gets terrifying. And if you imagine yourself in this situation, it's very frustrating, because you feel bad for the kids, even though they did walk into this, or I guess, what do chickens do? They like do this and they walk. I don't know what you call it. Trot. They trotted into this. Even though they trotted into this, you do feel bad for them, because having to deal with all that body horror and then going to the house, and now you have to go through all of these witchcraft books that keep turning out the wrong spell and potentially making your life even worse, and then running into Vanessa, this creepy old lady that does not like you, and she spites you, and all it takes for her is to read off one spell to make your life even worse. It's all very frustrating, and you feel bad for the kids. You hope they finally get a solution. And by the end of the book, they do kind of get a solution. You do kind of get that moral sense where basically Vanessa explains why she does what she does. She explains that she likes kids who show great manners, they carry themselves well, and overall you find out more about Vanessa and her character. You realize that she's a crazy person, but she's not ill intent. Her intents are pretty good. She just has extreme ways of doing stuff. And overall, it kind of makes you feel like this, this Disney original film where, hey, all this stuff happens, but it all comes down to the moral at the end of the story, a moral that all kids should take on and all kids should listen to. And then the twist ending happens. And it is a stupid, stupid ending. The ending is extremely dumb. The very, very ending, extremely dumb. And kind of makes all those morals go out the window, or go out the chicken barn, whatever you want to call it. I'm tired of making chicken jokes. Did you know the tagline of this book is It's a finger licking nightmare. Like the KFC, it's finger licking good. I can't make this up. That's actually what it says. Why did the chicken cross the road? Hopefully to not read this book a second time. Because I'm not reading this book a second time. It was okay. It was average. Would I recommend you guys read the book? If you want to, go ahead. Just letting you know it's not as bad as people say it is. But at the end of the day, it's not that good of a book. And the ending makes it to the point that you're like, I shouldn't waste my time reading that again. So yeah, the chicken did not cross the road to reread this. It should go read a better book, like Werewolf of Fever Swamp, or 95% of all other books. This book is not that good if I'm being honest. But it's not as bad as people hyped it up to be. And that's the point of this review. Because kids, remember, when it comes to life, do not go knocking on people's doors, and do not go knocking on dangerous people's doors, especially, and pranking them, because it'll end up bad for you, and it might end up with a book that people are going to say is the worst Goosebumps book of all time, even though deep down, kids, you know that it's not that bad of a book, especially when I covered You Can't Scare Me, and that book is worse than this book. So yeah. That's it for this review. If this review seemed like it was all over the place, apologies, but just letting you know, this book is also all over the place. So I tried to do my best. And it's a goofy concept. How can you not like it? It's a goofy concept. It's meant for kids. There's not really much more I can say. But I will say, this book is not as bad as I think it is. In terms of my rating, I will give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's decent. It's not the best, not the worst. It's just a really average kind of mad book. It's honestly forgettable. I would forget most of this plot in an instant. But it wasn't horrible to the point that I would remember how bad it is for the rest of my life, which I'm sure some future Goosebumps books will be, but this one is not that bad. So blogger, beware. You should reconsider your list, because I also saw that you guys had a shocker on Shock Street in your top 10 worst books for the original 62, which is questionable. Maybe that's why I shouldn't have listened to your chicken review, but I did. And I gave it a read, and I listened to your guys' varied feedbacks. And you know what? I'll say I'm in the middle. I don't think this book is fantastic. I don't think the book is bad. It's just an average. It's an okay book. That's it for my review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It's a free way to support me. It lets me know you guys enjoy these videos, you guys enjoy hearing my reviews, and you guys enjoy the content. Overall, I appreciate it a lot. It makes me more motivated to keep making content. And also comment down below your own thoughts and opinions. Let me know how you felt about the book. Is this a book you hate? And if you hate it, explain to me why. I might be persuaded. If you think this book is just like average, like you do me, let me know why you thought it was average. And if you actually really like this book, let me know. It's a fun book, so if you happen to like it, all the props to you. But yeah, stay tuned for more content to come. I have more reviews upcoming. Reading some more books right now, so I'm going to be trying to make reviews on those. And yeah, that's all for today. Deuces. I never thought I would see a book that had a girl's head on a chicken's body. And I was going to say I'm disappointed to see it, but you know what? Not too shabby, R.L. Stein. Not too shabby.